evening and welcome to Sun Meadow Temple. We are so happy you've joined us. My name is Alba and I use she, her pronouns. This is our first November observance and I'm so happy you are here. As always, this service is recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel. So please send in your slideshows for slideshow nights ASAP. And remember that our pentagram art project is still ongoing and you can join at any time. We will open today with our opening words, which will appear on the slide behind you. Please listen as I read the words aloud or read aloud along with me at home. We welcome you into the light of the gods and light this flame in celebration. May its brightness symbolize our connection to the gods and the natural world. May you join us in this community of faith, cherishing love and with open hearts. So our theme for this month is loyalty, yay, and our readings today are Philoctetes by Sophocles, which is a play, translated by Lewis Campbell, and the Book of Northern Myths, and the section is called Loki's Punishment, by an Irish name. I'm going to try. I think it's Patrick Colum, like Patrick, but I'm not 100% sure despite Googling it. I did try. So we will open today with Philoctetes, and because this is a play, I will be telling you who is speaking before I speak every time. Otherwise, it'll get really confusing. Chorus. Long since thou hadst seen me near yonder ship, had I not spied Odysseus and the son of great Achilles hastening to our side. Odysseus. Wilt thou not tell me why thou art hurrying this backward journey with reverted speed? Neoptolemus. To undo what I have wrongly done today. Odysseus. Thy words appall me. What is wrongly done? Neoptolemus. When in obeying thee and all the host, Odysseus, thou didst what deed that misbecame thy life? Neoptolemus. I conquered with base stratagem and fraud. Odysseus. Whom? What new plan is rising in thy mind? Neo. Not new, but to the child of Poeas here. Odysseus. What wilt thou do? I quake with strange alarm. Neo. From whom I took these weapons back again. Odysseus. O heaven, thou wilt not give them. Meanest thou this? Neo. Yea, for I have them through base sinful means. Odysseus. I pray thee, speakest thou thus to anger me? Neo. If the truth anger thee, the truth is said. Odysseus. Achilles' son, what word is fallen from thee? Neo. Must the same syllables be thrice thrown forth? Odysseus. Once was too much, would they had ne'er been said. Neo. Enough. Thou hast heard my purpose clearly told. Odysseus. I know what power shall thwart thee in thy deed. Neo. Whose will shall hinder me? Odysseus. The Achaean host and I among them. Neo. Thou art sharp-witted, sure, but little wit or wisdom showest thou here. Odysseus. Neither thy words nor thy design is wise. Neo. But if 'tis righteous that this is better far. Odysseus. How righteous, to release what thou hast taken by my device? Neo. I sinned a shameful sin, and will do mine utmost to retrieve it. Odysseus. How? Fearest thou not the Achaeans in this act? Neo. In doing right I fear not them nor thee. Odysseus. I call thy power in question. Neo. Then I'll fight not with Troy's legions, but with thee. Odysseus. Come on, let brave fortune arbitrate. Neo. Thou seest my hand feeling the hilt. Odysseus. And me thou soon shalt see doing the like and dallying not. And yet I will not touch thee, but will go and tell the army that shall wreak this on thy head. Neo. Thou showest discretion which, if thou preserve, thou mayest maintain a path exempt from pain. Ho, son of Poeas, Philoctetes, come and leave thy habitation in the rock. Philoctetes. What noise again is troubling my poor cave? Why do ye summon me? What crave ye, sirs? Ha! 'Tis some knavery. Are ye come to add some monster evil to my mountainous woe? Neo. Feel not, but hearken to what I now speak. Philoctetes. I needs must fear thee, whose fair words erewhile brought me to bitter fortune. Neo. May men not repent and change? Philoctetes. Such wastest thou in thy talk, when thou didst rob me of my bow, so bright without, so black within. Neo. Ah, but not now, assure thee, only let me hear thy will. Is its constance to remind me here and endure, or to make voyage with us? Philoctetes, stop, speak no more. Idle and vain will all thine utterance be. Neo, thou art so resolved? Philoctetes, more firmly than I say. Neo, I would I might have brought thee to my mind, but since my words are out of time, I have done. Philoctetes, thou wert best. No word of thine can touch my soul, or win me to thy love, who by deceit hast reft my life away, and then thou comest to school me of noblest father, basest son. Perish the Atridae first of, and then Laertes' child, and thou. Neo, curse me no more, but take this hallowed weapon from my hand. Phil, what words are these? Am I again deceived? Neo, no, by holiest name of Zeus on high. Phil, O voice of gladness, if thy speech be true. Neo, the deed shall prove it. Only reach thy hand, and be again sole master of thy bow. Odysseus appears. Odysseus, but I make protest in the sight of heaven for Atreus' sons and all the Achaean host. Phil, dear son, whose voice disturbs us, do I hear Odysseus? Odysseus, aye, and thou beholdest him nigh, and he shall force thee on the Trojan plain, howe'er Achilles' offspring make or mar. Phil, this shaft shall bear thee sorrow for that boast. Neo, let it not fly by heaven. Phil, dear child, let go mine arm. Neo, I will not. Exit Odysseus. Phil, ah, why hast thou robbed my bow of bringing down mine enemy? Neo, this were ignoble for both thee and me. Phil, one thing is manifest, the first or the host lying forerunners of the Achaean band are brave with words, but cowards with the steel. Neo, well, now the bow is thine. Thou hast no cause for blame or anger any more against me. Phil, none. Thou hast proved thy birthright, dearest boy, not from the loins of Sisyphus thou earnest, but from Achilles, who in life was held noblest of men alive, and now are the dead. Neo, it gladdens me that thou shouldst speak in praise of both my sire and me. But hear me tell the boon for which I sue thee. Mortal men must bear such evils as high heaven ordains, but those afflicted by self-chosen ills, like thine today, receive not from just men, or any kind indulgence or compassionate thought, and thou art restive grown, and will not hearken. But thou, though one counsel thee with kindest intent, will take him for a dark malignant foe. Yet, calling Zeus to witness for my soul, once more I will speak. Know this and mark it well. Thou bearest this sickness by a heavenly doom. Through coming near to Chrysa's sentinel, the lurking snake that guards the sky-roofed fold, and from this plague thou ne'er shalt find reprieve, while the same sun god rears him from the east and droops to the west again, till thou be come of thine own willing mind to Trojan's plain, where our physicians, son of Phoebus' child, shall soothe thee from thy sore, and thou with me, and with this bow, shalt take Troy's citadel. How do I know this? I will tell thee straight. We have a Trojan captive, Helenus, both prince and prophet, who hath clearly told this must be so. Yea, and ere harvest time this year, great Troy must fall. Else if his words be falsified, who will may slay the seer? Now since thou knowest of this, yield thy consent, for glorious is the pain being singled forth from all the Greeks' noblest first to come to healing hands, and then to win renown unrivaled, vanquishing all tearful Troy. Phil, oh how I hate my life! Why must it keep this breathing form from sinking to the shades? How can I prove a rebel to his mind, who thus exhorts me with affectionate heart, and yet, oh misery, must I give way? Then how could I endure the light of heaven, with whom I could exchange a word, I, me, eyes that have seen each act of my sad life? How could ye bear it to behold the sons of Atreus, my destroyers, comrades now, and friends, Laertes' wicked son, my friend? Unless I feel the grief of former wrong, then shudder with expectance of fresh harm. They may work on me, for when the mind hath once been with mother of an evil brood, it nurses naught but evils. Yea, at thee I marvel. Thou shouldest ne'er return to Troy, nor suffer me to go, when thou rememberest what insult they have done thee, ravishing thy father's rights from thee. And wilt thou then sail to befriend them, pressing me in aid? Nay, do not, son, but even as thou hast sworn, convey me home, and thou in Scarus' dwelling, leave to their evil doom those evil men. So thou shalt win a twofold gratitude from me and from my father, and not seem helping vile men to be as vile as they. Neo, 'tis fairly spoken, yet I would that thou, relying on my word and on heaven's aid, wouldst voyage forth from Lemnos with thy friend. Phil, meanest thou to Troy and the hateful sons of Atreus me with this distrustful limb? Neo, nay, but to those that will relieve the pain of thy torn foot and heal thee of thy plague. Phil, thy words are horrible. What meanest thou, boy? Neo, the act I deem the noblest for us both. Phil, wilt thou speak so? Where is thy fear of heaven? Neo, why should I fear when I see certain gain? Phil, gain for the sons of Atreus or for me? Neo, methinks a friend should give thee friendly counsel. Phil, friendly to hand me over to my foes? Neo, ah, be not hardened in thy misery. Phil, I know thou wilt ruin me by what thou speakest. Neo, not I. The case is dark to thee, I see. Phil, I know the Atreidae cast me on this rock. Neo, but how, if they should save thee afterward? Phil, they ne'er shall make me see Troy with my will. Neo, hard is my fortune then, if by no sleight of reasoning I can draw thee to my mind. For me, 'twerest easiest to end speech that thou mightest live on as thou livest in hopeless pain. Phil, then leave me to my fate, but thou hast touched my right hand with thine own and given consent to bear me to my home. Do this, dear son, and do not linger to take thought of Troy. Enough that name hath echoed in my groans. Neo, if thou wilt, let us be going. Phil, nobly hast thou said the word. Neo, lean thy steps on mine. Phil, as firmly as my foot will strength afford. Neo, ah, but how shall I escape the Achaean anger? Phil, I do not care. Neo, ah, but should they spoil my country? Phil, to shield thee will be there. Neo, and how to shield me, how to aid me? Phil, with the shafts of Hercules I will scare them. Neo, give thy blessing to this isle and come in peace. Okay, so we'll now be doing the Book of Northern Myths. The section is called Loki's Punishment, and this is a rewriting of Norse myths to be children's stories, so this is in easier language to understand. And again, I did Google all of the pronunciations of these words, but I cannot guarantee to get them 100% correct. It's not like the Greek, where I can just read it. Crow went flying towards the north, croaking as she flew. Let Hela keep what she folds, let Hela keep what she holds. That crow was the hag Thaukat transformed, and the hag Thaukat was Loki. He flew to the north and came into the waste of Jotunheim. As a crow, he lived there, hiding himself from the wrath of the gods. He told the giants that the time had come for them to build the ship Naglfar, and the ship that was to be built out of nails of dead men, and that was to sail to Asgard on the day of Ragnarok, with the giant Hymir steering it, and a hearkening to what he said, the giants then and there began to build Naglfar, and the ship that gods and men wished to remain unbuilt for so long. Then Loki, tiring of the waste of Jotunheim, flew to the burning south. As a lizard he lived amongst the rocks of Muspelheim, and he made the fire giants rejoice when he told them of the loss of Frey's sword and of Tyr's right hand. But still in Asgard there was one who wept for Loki, Siguna, his wife. Although he had left her and had shown his hatred for her, Siguna wept for her evil husband. He left Muspelheim as he had left Jotunheim, and he came to live in the world of men. He knew that he had now come into a place where the wrath of the gods might find him. And so he made plans to be ever ready for escape. He had come to the river where ages before he had slain the otter that was the son of the enchanter, and on the very rock where the otter had eaten the salmon on the day of his killing, Loki built his house. He made 4 doors to it so that he might see in every direction. And the power that he kept for himself was the power of transforming himself into a salmon. Often as a salmon he swam in the river, but even for the fishes that swam beside him Loki had hatred. Out of flax and yarn he wove a net that men might have the means of taking them out of the water. The wrath that the gods had against Loki did not pass away. It was he who, as Thaklut the Hag, had given Hela the power to keep Balder unransomed. It was he who had put into Hodor's hand the sprig of mistletoe that had bereft Balder of life. Empty was Asgard now that Balder lived no more, in the peace stead, and stern and gloomy grew the minds of the Aesir and the Vanir, thinking on the direful things that were arrayed against them. Odin in his hall of Valhalla thought only of the ways by which he could bring heroes to him to be in his help in defending Asgard. The gods searched through the world, and they found at last the place where Loki had made his dwelling. He was weaving the net to take fishes when he saw them coming from 4 directions. He threw the net into the fire so that it was burnt, and he sprang into the river and transformed himself into a salmon. When the gods entered his dwelling, they found only the burnt out fire. But there was one amongst them who could understand all that he saw. In the ashes were the marks of the burnt net, and he knew that these were the tracings of something to catch fishes. And from the marks left in the ashes, he made a net that was the same as the one Loki had burned. With it in their hands, the gods went down to the river, dragging the net through the water. Loki was affrighted to find the thing of his own weaving brought against him. He lay between 2 stones at the bottom of the river, and the net passed over him. But the gods knew that the net had touched something at the bottom. They fastened weights to it, and they dragged the net through the river again. Loki knew that he might not escape it this time, and he rose in the water and swam towards the sea. The gods caught sight of him as he leaped over a waterfall. They followed him, dragging the net. Thor waited behind, ready to seize him should he turn back. Loki came out at the mouth of the river, and behold, there was a great eagle hovering over the waves of the sea, ready to swoop down on fishes. He turned back in the river. He made a leap that took him over the net that the gods were dragging, but Thor was behind the net, and he caught the salmon in his powerful hands, and he held him for all the struggle that Loki made. No fish had ever struggled so before. Loki got himself free, all but his tail, but Thor held the tail and brought him amongst the rocks and forced him to take his proper form. He was in the hands of those whose wrath was strong against him. They brought him to a cavern, and they bound him to 3 sharp-pointed rocks. With cords that were made of the sinews of wolves, they bound him, and transformed the cords into iron bands. There they would have left Loki, bound and helpless, but Skadi, with her fierce giant blood, was not content that he should be left untormented. She found a serpent that had deadly venom, and she hung the serpent above Loki's head. The drops of venom fell upon him, bringing him anguish, drop by drop, minute by minute. So Loki's torture went on. But Siguna, with a pitying heart, came to his relief. She exiled herself from Asgard, and endured the darkness and the cold of the cavern, that she might take away the torment from him who was her husband. Over Loki, Siguna stood, holding her hands in a cup in holding in her hands a cup into which fell the serpent's venom, thus sparing him from the full measure of anguish. Now and then Siguna had to turn aside to spill out the overflowing cup, and then the drops of venom fell on Loki, and he screamed in agony, twisting his bonds. It was then that men felt the earthquake. There in his bonds, Loki stayed until the coming of Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. So that was longer than anticipated, so I'm going to sort of trim down the discussion portion that I had planned. But you will see in this that in Philoctetes, what is important is being loyal to values. Even if you slip up in the beginning, coming back and being loyal to your values is what is good. And this is also true of the story of Loki, where Siguna is loyal to her vows in marriage to Loki. And, we might have some disagreements about whether Siguna should be loyal to Loki, but in this story, it is important that she is, and that she is loyal to protecting him and lessening his punishment. So we'll now move into the ritual portion of the observance, and I will play the video. our connection and devotion. We gift this rock to symbolize the stability of the gods in our world. We gift this water to accept the flow of our lives. We welcome life and bless our offerings with oil to share our riches. We embrace our connection to each other and the world and celebrate our revival. Okay, we'll now move into our closing words, and as with the opening ones, listen as I read them aloud, or read them aloud along with me. As we move out into the world, let us remember our community of faith. Cherish love and open your heart as you walk through life. Hold dear the light of the gods and our connection with the natural world. Go forth in celebration and carry the light of connection within your heart. So we'll now move into coffee hour, and I will turn off the recording.